Ang mga batang ngayon lang isinilang, may hangin pa kayang matitikman? May mga puno pa kaya silang aakyatin? May mga ilog pa kayang lalamuyan?
Bakit di natin pag-isipan ang nangyayari sa ating kapaligiran?
Hindi nga masamang pag-unlad kung hindi nakakasira ng kalikasan. Lahat ng bagay na narito sa lupa, biyayang galing sa Diyos kahit nung ika'y wala pa. Ingatan natin at huwag nang sirain pa, pagkat pag kanyang linawi tayo'y mawawala na.
The Pope premised his discussion on what is happening to our common home, with his observation of rapidification in development. The speed of human activity has greatly outpaced the naturally slow pace of biological evolution. But lest the Pope be misunderstood as counterproductive, the Pope stated categorically that change, or development, is good. But, when change is not working for the common good, or for the sustenance of the environmental and human development, it becomes harmful to the earth, and to the quality of life of much of humanity. The Pope starts chapter 1 by discussing pollution and climate change. We are now undoubtedly witnessing a disturbing rate of global warming, mainly as a result of two major degrading human activities: 1. Intensive use of fossil fuel in our models of development and production, and 2. Increase in the changed uses of the soil, principally deforestation for livestock, and agricultural production. These are aggravated by our current throwaway culture, leading to accumulation of solid wastes, rendering our earth like a pile of filth, and causing the pollution of the soil, air, and water, and worse, increasing the emission of greenhouse gases, which aggravates global warming. Global warming causes a chain of climatic changes, starting with the meltdown of polar ice caps and glaciers, to an ensuing chain of environmental effects, including the constant rise in sea levels and sea temperatures, to more evaporation leading to more powerful storms and erratic weather patterns, to disturbances to the habitats of flora and fauna, causing migrations, depletions, or even extinctions, and seriously affecting biodiversity. Climate change represents the principal challenge we are facing, as it has grave implications on society, environment, and the economy, and more particularly on the vulnerability of the poor, and on animal and human migration. The Pope tackles next the issue of water. Fresh water is an issue of primary importance, since it is indispensable for human life, and for supporting the ecosystem. We face two major issues on water: the quality and limited supply of fresh water. The volume of fresh water, which is only 6% of the total global water supply, is continually decreasing, as the ice caps and glaciers melt into the sea due to global warming. Worse, only 20% of this volume is manually accessible to humans, animals, flora, and fauna. It is now estimated that 15% of the world population do not have access to fresh and potable water. Worst, we are continually polluting these waters. Due to its growing scarcity and indispensability in sustaining life, there are now growing attempts by big businesses to privatize this resource and turn it into a commodity subject to the laws of the market. Many foresee this situation as a potential source of conflict that can escalate into wars. On the loss of biodiversity, the Earth's resources are not only decimated by destructive effects of climate change on habitats, but also by human plundering for commerce and production. Humans must intervene whenever geosystems reach critical state. But, ironically, human interventions has proven to aggravate the situation. There is need for genuine caring for ecosystems, most especially on certain places, including tropical forests, mangrove swamps, coral reefs, and marine organisms. Fishing activities must also be controlled. All of these environmental degradation are also causing a decline in the quality of human life, and the breakdown of society. The social dimension of the technological innovations that has caused environmental degradation are signs that the growth during the past 2 centuries has not led to an improvement in the quality of life. We have unemployment, social exclusion, inequitable distribution of wealth and resources, social breakdown, increased violence, and loss of identity, to name a few. The pervasive use of, and influence of media and the digital world, also tends to contribute to the breakdown of society. Because these enable us to choose relationships at whim, they generally give rise to a harmful sense of isolation, and dissatisfaction with interpersonal relations. They also tend to stop us from learning to live wisely, from thinking deep, and from loving generously. God's creations are integrally linked with one another. The human environment inevitably deteriorates also, with environmental degradation. The gravest effects are suffered by the poorest, although they contribute least to environmental degradation. When all is said and done, they remain at the bottom of the pile, as collateral damage. There is global inequality, not only among people, but among countries as well. Rich countries exploit poor countries, and cause local harm. Grave global warming, caused by irresponsible consumption in rich countries, have severe climatic repercussions on poor countries. Export of waste save rich countries from pollution, which are transferred to recipient poor countries. Financial aid, extended by rich countries, often become tools for controlling poor countries. These situations have caused Sister Earth to cry out for help, pleading us to become instruments of God, so that our planet might be what He desired it to be when He created it. This is a very daunting challenge, inasmuch as we lack leadership in championing sustainability, which seeks to meet the needs of the present, without compromising the capacity of future generations to meet their own needs. Presence of very powerful, greed-driven interests, and the unholy alliance they have with technology, disregarding the common good for self-interests, and manipulating facts and information, to muddle data on the degree of degradation. People's bad habits, and dulling consciousness, which hinder people on taking corrective actions. We lack a legal ecological framework, to ensure protection of ecosystems, amid a variety of approaches to the problem, and in crafting possible solutions. Different approaches and lines of thought have emerged, regarding this situation and its possible solutions. At one extreme, some say that ecological problems can be solved by simply applying new technology. The other extreme holds the view that all human interventions will just aggravate the situation. Even as the Church itself also does not have a definitive solution, it is certain that honest debate among experts and humanity will ultimately lead to a way out, that we can always redirect our steps, that we can always do something to solve our problems. Amid all of these seeming insurmountable obstacles, we see signs that things are now reaching a breaking point, and we are compelled to strive for clear solutions. This is evident in large-scale natural disasters, as well as social and financial crises we have today. If we scan all the regions of our planet, we immediately see that humanity has disappointed God's expectations.
Bakit di natin pag-isipan ang nangyayari sa ating kapaligiran?
Hindi nga masamang pagunlad kung hindi nakakasira ng kalikasan. Lahat ng bagay na narito sa lupa, biyayang galing sa Diyos kahit nung ika'y wala pa. Ingatan natin at huwag nang sirain pa, pagkat pag kanyang linawi tayo'y mawawala na.